Welcome to Small Steps. My name's Seth Potts. I want to show you how to count cells containing specific text. So in crime analysis, one of the tasks we get assigned quite often is for some basic statistics, and a lot of times that calls for counting items, whether that be types of crimes or locations, whatever the case may be. But as you all know, data doesn't always come in the most convenient way for you. So example I have here is just a list of cases, certain date range, case number, and a charge description. A lot of times I know we'll use NIBR codes to count things in different categories. That makes it a lot easier. But what happens if you have it kind of broken out a little more specific in here? So I have all these different charge descriptions that are all the different statutes. What makes it difficult is they are longer strings of text, and not everything's going to fit into the way text is listed in one description here. So example I have is going to be looking for warrants. Now it is always good, whether your data is ideal or not, is to have a pretty good knowledge of your data. So you get something like this, and instead of putting together a pivot table and filtering and searching and trying to find all the items that would go in the category you're looking for, maybe you just have a better idea of how these are listed, and instead of doing that pivot table and going through all that effort, you can write a simple formula with a COUNTIF. And if you know kind of the layout of what you're looking for, you can insert an asterisk as a wild card and to help you pick out specific little bits of text that can get you what you want here. So we're going to start with warrants. So I know warrants, I know the way they're listed. There's 4 different listings for warrants. So if I'm asked to count how many warrant arrests we've had, charges that have come up along the way, I can use the COUNTIF and 2 arguments with it, the range and the criteria. So for the range, I'm just going to do that entire column there, make it easy. And for the criteria, what I'm looking for, I know the way this listed, they all have the word warrant in there. Now, the different ways they're listed, sometimes it's at the beginning, sometimes it's at the middle. Either way, they're going to have different text after as well. So when you have a word that you're looking for that's somewhere in the middle of a longer string of text, what you want to do is add that asterisk up front and the word we're looking for, add another one after, close quote, close parentheses. So we're searching everything in column C, we're counting how many times warrant is listed in there. And that's going to cover every single one we have, all 4 specific charge descriptions that have to do with the warrant. Now, you don't always have to have it where it's in the middle. Sometimes, like in the case of these auto burglaries, we'll do that COUNTIF again. We're going to do the same range. Now, instead of starting out with asterisk, I know that the auto burglaries, there's 3 different types they have listed here, and they all start the same way. And they all start with burglary space vehicle. So that is the text at the beginning of every single one of those, all 3. They all have differing things after, whether there's a firearm stolen or whatever the case may be. That is where the difference comes in. So I will add that asterisk after vehicle. So just like the other, we'll close the quote, close the parentheses. So counting everything in column C, that is a burglary vehicle, so auto burglary type. And we get our count there, 95. Now, where it gets convoluted is when you have a lot of data, and something like this, if I'm looking for burglaries, it's not as simple as just looking for burglary, because that's going to include those auto burglaries. Now, I don't want the auto burglaries included with my commercial and residential. So you can make it a little more complicated, but it'll do it the same way here, is the count ifs with an S on the end of it. That allows us to give an extra set of conditions or criteria, and you can add multiples, not just 2. So it'll start out the same way. It's asking for the criteria range. We'll do the same there, column C. And so the first criteria is going to be that burglary. Like I said, it's going to include everything with a burglary if we leave it just like that. But all the different statutes have burglary listed in different places, and there's quite a few more different statutes for burglary. So first thing we're going to do is get that quote, the asterisk there, burglary, and add another one after, and close those quotes. Now that's the first part of this. Like I said, if we just did this, it would count everything, whether it's a commercial, residential, or auto burglary. We want to get those separated out. So once we get that with everything with burglary, next thing we're going to do is put another criteria range in. So it's going to be that same column again. So we're going to say, other than just everything with burglary, we also want to have it where it does not include the burglary vehicle. So we know specifically what those others are going to be, is going to be those auto burgs. So the way you do that is you're going to open quotes just like you would before. And these characters right here, the less than, greater than, the caret symbols there, you put them up front on the text, and it's going to say not. That's basically saying not including is what it is. So in that column, we want that second criteria to be not including. Let's see, burglary vehicle. Now I do also have to include that asterisk after. So it is very specific on anything that starts with burglary vehicle with any text after. So they'll get rid of all three of the other auto burglaries there. We'll close the quotes, close the parentheses. So giving that multiple criteria, and it gives us 46, which is correct. Pre-count of these and just see the total of both those. If I just did the burglary, it was going to be 141. So you see it has removed those and separated those out. So next time you get data in like this and you're asked to do a count, instead of really toiling through a pivot table and having to filter and try to figure out the counts with multiple things filtered in there, easier way to do it, if you know your data like this, is using this COUNTIF and using the specific text with the asterisk, the wildcards in there, to narrow it down to exactly what you want, whether it's in one type of listing here, or like this, where there's sometimes 3 or 4 or even more that would encompass everything in the group you're looking for. If you found this tutorial helpful and would like to see more, click like and subscribe. The next video coming up is going to be over using the floor function to group data into buckets.